Hello, and welcome to another edition of Friday Night Series, How to Pray. And I'm your host, the Reverend Doctor. And past few weeks we've been talking about the topic of what happens when you do not pray. And a little recap, a little review of that. When we do not pray, our life is directed by happenstance, things that go on in the world. When we do not pray, our life is governed by the major curses in this world. The curse of Adam, and I talked about the curse of Adam and the curse of Eve and the curse of Ham and other curses that are affecting mankind. When you do not pray, your life will be governed by the controller of this world, which is Satan, of this world, of this physical world. When you do not pray, you do not intervene or modify events that take place in the spirit realm. Well, today I want to finish up this topic, this section on what happens when you do not pray. Is when you do not pray, your life is governed by the wickedness of men. Now, the wickedness of man, this world is wicked. In 1 John 5 and chapter 9, 1 John chapter 5, verse 19. It says, and we know that the whole world lies in wickedness. The whole world. Evil is in man's heart. Evil is in man's heart. You don't want your life governed by the wickedness of man. Man is a very wicked creature. Ecclesiastes said that, and I consider all travel and every right works, that for this a man is envied of his neighbor. This is also vanity and vexation of spirit. Now, no matter what work you do, right work you do, it's always hated, is envied by your neighbor. The human heart is evil. God said that man is evil to the day he dies. He doesn't have to do anything else. If God just left mankind alone, mankind would self-destruct. So what happens when we don't pray is that we're governed by the forces of the evilness of man. And Jesus, you think about what Jesus encountered jealousy, fears, wickedness, betrayal, and conflict. Everybody was after him. They couldn't understand it. So he called on his father. He went to the Garden of Gethsemane and he called on his father. And he prayed. Jesus prayed all the time because he couldn't allow the evilness of man to take over. But when we don't pray, we allow the evilness of man to take over. Surely, you know what benefit do we get? The only time we get honored is after we die. Because as long as we're living and we're doing something right, somebody's going to hate us. That's the evilness in the world. They'll erect a statue and put some, monument for your name, but while you're living, and if you don't pray, that's what you'll be subjected to. You'll be subjected to this. If you do not pray, your life will be governed by the will of man. Not the will of God, but the will of man. What does man have will for you? Man has evil willed for you. Man has evil willed for me. So if I don't pray, then I'm subjected to the evil will of man. Which, now, if we want to think about the will of man, there's disloyalty, fears, jealousy, greed, and hatred. And these people probably don't even know you. They don't know you like that. But yet, they see the good you're doing, and then they hate you. Satan has a way of doing it. And we see a very familiar text, Matthew 16, 22 and 23. And then when Jesus told the disciples that what he must do, then here comes Peter. Then Peter took him and began to rebuke him, saying, "Be it far from thee, Lord, this shall not be unto thee." Now that's Peter, who was going to stop him from fulfilling the prophecy, the evilness in his heart. But he turned and said unto Peter, "Get thee behind me, Satan. Thou art an offense unto me. For thou savorest not the things that be of God, but those that be of man." He was telling that Peter, for that moment, was savoring the things of man and not of God. So when we don't pray, we are subjecting ourselves to the will or those things that be of man. When we pray, we subject ourselves to those things that be of God. Now you make the choice. It's up to you. I'm just putting it out here that if you don't pray, you're leaving your life up to the will of man, and the will of man is evil till the day he dies. The will of man will take over your life when you do not pray. So let's make it a habit of prayer. Let's get into a habit of praying. I don't know, it don't have to be an elaborate prayer, but a heartfelt prayer. You've done it before. You've seen the results. Continue. Because we've seen that the things that some people have done for evil, when we prayed, God turned it around for our good. So, continue to pray. And let's not stop praying. If you haven't prayed yet, begin to pray. Because if you don't, then your life will be governed by the will of man. And the will of man is evil until the day he dies. Well, this has been another edition of Friday Night Series, How to Pray. And I'm your host, the Reverend Doctor. And I sign off by saying, if you're too busy to pray, you're too busy. May God have mercy on our souls.